Good evening, America. Drew Hernandez here, host and creator of Lives Matter. Welcome to the Lives Matter official podcast. Welcome. Make sure to smash the like button. Make sure to let the algorithm know that you want to continue to see my videos, my content, my podcast. But also, guys, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new tonight. But also, guys, make sure to comment below. I want to see where you guys are watching from. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to see your thoughts. Drop where your city, your state, your country, wherever you're tuning in from tonight, but also make sure to share this video on all of your social media platforms. And guys, also remember to follow me on Parler, Lives Matter Official. Follow me on Twitter, Lives Matter Show. Follow me on Instagram, Lives Matter Official as well. I'm on Rumble too, and the links are on the description below, all my social media handles. But also, guys, if you guys are new to the show, just so you know, I do not monetize this podcast. I don't plug in annoying little ads in the middle of my intriguing points that I make. I know that's kind of annoying on a lot of podcasts. I personally don't like that, but and because of the main reason, we are extremely deboosted here on YouTube. So if you would like to support this podcast, the way that you can do it is one of two ways. You can either leave a super chat, ask a question at the end of the show, and I will interact back and forth live in real time. This is not pre-recorded. Or you could donate in the links below: PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, Patreon, all that good stuff. So today, you guys, a lot of stuff went down today. I know everyone saw Sidney Powell, Lynn Wood. Lynn Wood is like on fire right now. Like Lynn Wood, the energy behind that man, if you don't believe in God right now, that man is just on fire right now with absolute boldness and courage, preaching American values and biblical values and biblical themes. Linwood is on fire, man. And like, my spirit is encouraged. My spirit is amplified. I needed to hear a lot of the stuff that Linwood was saying today. And I know a lot of Americans needed to hear that as well, especially in the state that they were rallying in. But also, a point that I wanted to make with Sidney Powell, and I don't know if I'm right about this, and I could be totally dead wrong about this, but one thing that I noticed about Sidney Powell today was she's extremely powerful right now. Her stage presence, the the reactions she gets from the crowd back and forth. I don't know if you've noticed, but being a public speaker myself, if you're not talented and you're not gifted in making very clean, quick, authentic, and articulate points, the crowd listening to you won't react and they won't care about your speech. Now, I make that point because if you're not talented, you can't do that. I can't teach people how to do things like that, especially if you've heard me speak publicly. That's not teachable, in my personal opinion. It's either you're a phenomenal public speaker or you're just not. I make that point because as a public speaker and myself watching Sidney Powell, it just blows my mind. The crowd reactions, the chants, the uproars, the positivity and the love that she's receiving without even having to say a lot. Yeah, she would make like these quick little statements, but man, I don't even think Donald Trump has that. And I might be stretching this too far, but I would not be surprised if Sidney Powell ends up running for something in the near future to carry on the baton and the torch of the Make America Great Again movement, because from what I saw today was something that I don't even think Donald Trump has. I could be wrong, right? Donald Trump could show up to a stadium and the stadium would erupt. People show up just for Donald Trump. I guess the point I'm trying to make is don't sleep on Sidney Powell, because what I saw today, her reactions that she was getting from the public, from the Trump base, is very strange. Not in a bad way, but the woman just stands there. People are in roars and cheers. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's cringe. I think that's a very interesting thing to be able to possess as a public figure. And when this is all said and done, I think we're going to see a lot of new faces challenging the Republican Party. We saw that today. Sidney Powell and Lynn Wood were challenging the Republican Party today. A lot of patriots, a lot of Trump supporters are finally waking up to the realization that the Republicans aren't always the good guys. I mean, if you're going to sit here and believe that Republicans have not been infiltrated by the deep state, you haven't woken up yet, my friend. And you kind of need to. But that was an amazing rally, okay? There's a lot to be said there, but what I wanted to focus on tonight was Rudy Giuliani's hearing tonight in Michigan. I think this went like around maybe 3 hours or over 3 hours. A lot of compelling testimony, but there was one witness that really, really stuck out to me. Now, I'm going to give you guys my perspective for all of you guys that follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, especially on Twitter, on all my social media. You guys know that I've kind of carved out a career by covering Black Lives Matter very extensively from an investigative perspective. I go behind enemy lines with these people without them realizing I'm there. I hear things, I see things, I document things. Same with Antifa. Now, the reason why I approached what I heard today in this hearing with this perspective is a lot of the testimony that's being given, and this isn't just in Michigan. This is Pennsylvania. This is in different states across the country. In a lot of the testimony that I'm hearing from Republican challengers, some Democrats in Pennsylvania have testified of being harassed, threatened, treated like trash, accused of being racists for not complying with the poll workers and some poll supervisors. What it sounds like to me, and if you listen to a lot of the testimony, you're hearing the same thing over and over again. Republicans try to do their job, their constitutional, legally delegated jobs, by challenging ballots that might be fraudulent or that just seem questionable. That's not illegal. It seems like every time a Republican challenger, now I'm speaking about Michigan tonight, after the sworn affidavit, which is penalty under perjury, okay? This is legitimate evidence. You can go to jail for lying on this. a lot of the testimonies are corroborating the same thing. These poll workers, and in some cases even Democrat challengers, they're all saying the same thing, that they seem to be trained professional agitators. A Republican challenger would challenge a ballot, and a Democrat poll watcher, poll worker, or Democrat challenger would harass them, would accuse them of being racist, would instantly start barking, 6 months, 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. You're not 6 feet apart. And in some case, Republicans were arrested. Democrats weren't. In some cases, even in Arizona, some Democrats were pissing and moaning about Republicans not being 6 feet apart from the vote counters, while Democrat poll watchers, poll workers, Democrat challengers were 6 inches away from the counter. Now, I'm hearing a lot of the same thing coming out from these testimonies, and it sounds like, in my personal professional analysis after what I'm hearing, it literally sounds like the Democrat Party hired Black Lives Matter activists to literally run the polls in this election in some districts, some cities, and in some counties. And I'm gonna explain to you why I believe this tonight. And the reason why is because in a lot of these testimonies, you're hearing the same thing over and over again. A Republican challenges the validity of a vote, and instantly a Democrat jumps on them, hounds them, begins to agitate them, accuse them of being a racist, accuse them of being on the wrong side. And there was a testimony given tonight from an Indian American, a legal immigrant woman, okay, female, that testified at one point on election night where some kind of election supervisor, when all of these random boxes, possibly hundreds of thousands of ballots just came in from the back door. I'm going to show you guys the testimony tonight. That out of nowhere, one of the election supervisors comes out and announces, "This is what democracy looks like." And then the entire room bursts in an uproar in cheers. Okay? Who does that sound like to you? I will tell you right now, I have covered Black Lives Matter multiple times. I can't even count how many times. I've been around them. I've heard personal conversations between their leaders. I've heard them strategize. I've heard their chants. I can recite their chants like the back of my hand right now because I've been behind enemy lines, undercover, investigative. I know how Black Lives Matter functions. And I can tell you right now, it literally sounds like the Democrat Party hired hundreds of Black Lives Matter activists to work the election polls in the 2020 election. To stand up and announce, "This is what democracy looks like." That is literally a chant that Black Lives Matter chants over and over and over again, and Antifa. For an election supervisor to lead and come out and say that on election night after shady ballots just randomly came in, after already kicking out hundreds of Republican challengers, and then the entire room goes up in an uproar. What the hell is going on? Can you imagine? Just imagine for 2 seconds, if you're a leftist right now and you're just like, well, who cares? Let's just imagine for 2 seconds that this scenario was flipped. Let's imagine, and might I add, isn't this what the Democrat Party and Nancy Pelosi, they were all fear-mongering the public? That Trump supporters and Proud Boys were going to suppress voters at the polls? This is literally what the Democrat Party has done, except with Black Lives Matter. Because Black Lives Matter are the ones that do the dirty work for the Democrat Party and Antifa. Now, what am I saying? What I'm saying is this. I find it interesting that an election supervisor announces a Black Lives Matter chant, any Black Lives Matter activist that is listening to me right now will not deny that all they ever chant is, "This is what democracy looks like." Or they'll chant, "Show us what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like." That is a Black Lives Matter anthem. Fact. And election night in Michigan, there was an election supervisor after hundreds of thousands of these boxes of ballots came in, after hundreds of Republican challenges were kicked out and bullied and accused of being racists, stands up and says, "This is what democracy looks like." And the entire room went up in a roar of cheers. Now, let's just pretend for 2 seconds. Imagine if that was flipped. What if there was a Trump supporter, election supervisor in the room, and all of the Republicans in the room were bullying and accusing Democrats of being racists and kicking them out of the room just for doing their jobs. And at the end of the night, when all these suspicious activities have been going on all day, hundreds of thousands of ballots come in, and imagine for 2 seconds that the election supervisor that was a Trump supporter came out and said, "This is how we make America great again." Imagine what the media coverage would be right now. Fact. You know that CNN, MSNBC, the Young Turks, you know, on Twitter, on Instagram, you know that if this scenario was literally flipped, it would be headline world news. And the entire election, I myself, if that really happened, I would condemn that. It's completely wrong. Because people have their constitutional right to do their job. So, what am I talking about? You might think I'm a liar or I'm full of crap, but before I show you what I'm about to show you tonight, number one, understand, children, leftists in the room tonight, understand, because you keep getting fed these bullcrap lies that there's no evidence. It's not evidence. It's not real evidence. Like, kid, you know how to use Google, right? Do I have to send you a how to use Google YouTube video? Go to Google, kid. Research the definition of an affidavit. The legal definition of an affidavit will shock you, little one, because that is what is presented and used as legitimate, credible evidence in a court of law. Mainstream media is not telling you that because they want you to stay stupid. They want you to be a mindless lemming that's sitting there on Twitter saying, it's not real evidence. Like, dude, do you understand that? You understand that these people are aware that you're stupid enough to not look this up yourself and to run along with their narratives and to not even look into it yourself. You understand this, right? You understand that CNN is sophisticated enough to finesse you into remaining an idiot? If you cannot understand this, my friend, I don't know what to tell you. Because if you believe that CNN has your best interest in mind, if you think that Twitter has your best interest in mind, my God, you're like a kid that grew up in the church that's been sheltered their entire life, living in a bubble, not realizing what's really out there. You know what I'm talking about. You think that nothing bad could happen. So, before I show you this, we're going to go over this testimony. It's about 9 minutes long, but you need to see it. This woman that is testifying is under a sworn affidavit, which if she's lying, she could be sent to prison. That's a fact. So what this woman is saying, if she is lying, she could be thrown in jail. And let me even take it to the next extent. She's a legal immigrant. She immigrated to this country from India. So I don't know how far that could even go if a legal immigrant Could you lose your citizenship for lying on a sworn affidavit under oath? I would like to know that, because I think maybe you can. These are very serious legal matters. Serious. Okay? This woman is testifying under oath. There was this deranged Democrat, forgot her stupid name. Let me see if you guys were watching the hearing today, but she was totally obnoxious. Her name is Rep. Cynthia A. Johnson. You could totally tell she's a Black Lives Matter activist. Let's actually point this out real quick. So during the hearing, there was this deranged congresswoman. I don't know. I think she was a congresswoman that kept interrupting all of the witness testimony, saying that they're lying with her. She didn't make any sense. She didn't even know what the name of the center was where this election took place. Okay, she was acting obnoxious, didn't know what the hell was going on, extremely arrogant, pompous, just like swinging her head around like an idiot. It's like, you are so stupid not taking this serious. She's a Democrat, okay? Very, very aggressive and combative behavior. Very defensive behavior. All she has to do is listen to the testimonies. Now, I want to show you who this woman was. I actually retweeted this earlier. If we can get this up. I retweeted this earlier. It was this woman. And where's it at? Here it is. Cynthia A. Johnson. Okay. Now, this is her Twitter. And this is who is sitting in these hearings acting aggressive tonight. Rep. Cynthia A. Johnson. This is an elected official that was acting like a clown tonight. And this is the kind of stuff that she retweets and endorses. That's an endorsement. You see this? And I'll help. This is what this person tweeted, and this deranged clown in Michigan retweeted it. When this nightmare is over, we need a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. It would ease Trump's lies, comfort those who have been harmed by this hatefulness, and name every official, politician, executive, and media mogul whose greed and cowardice enabled this catastrophe. That's the same anthem that AOC was putting out, saying that we need to start making some lists, and the lists being put together for going after Trump supporters in the government and in the media. This woman endorses this. Look what she says in response. She retweeted it, and she said, and I'll help. So it makes sense. Let's get out of this. So it makes sense why her behavior is so combative, aggressive, defensive. Because tonight, if you watch the Michigan hearing, there was a woman up there, a Democrat legislator up there that literally endorses and supports compiling lists of Trump supporters and going after them. This is what we're dealing with. This is who was on that legislative panel tonight in Michigan. Yep. She's an idiot. Literally an idiot. Okay. So, like I said, the woman that's giving testimony that I'm going to share with you tonight is under a sworn oath, sworn affidavit. And even tonight, when this deranged leftist, I think she's probably Black Lives Matter, clearly, Congresswoman, Ms. Johnson, was questioning the integrity of the witnesses, this Indian immigrant. She says, they're not under oath. They're not under oath, like acting like a child. This woman, the Indian immigrant, the witness, actually comes out and she says, listen, I'll swear under oath. And I'll still say the same thing. Because even if you ask me this in the middle of the night, when I wake up in the middle of the night out of sleep, you're going to hear the same story. So this woman even pushes back on this clown Democrat congresswoman when she's saying, they need to be sworn under oath. The Indian immigrant woman, she's an American, says, okay, let's go. props to her, kudos to her. So let's start looking into this now. I'm gonna go play by play with this. We're gonna play it and watch it together. So here we go.
Cito.
And can you tell us why you're here?
I was a poll challenger, and I got trained by MIGOP and also
Where were you a poll challenger?
at TCF Center.
In Detroit.
Yes.
And were you too?
Yes, I was a volunteer at the TCF Center on election night.
Okay.
I got trained by MIGOP and also by the Election Integrity Fund, but then I received my credentials from the MIGOP. So on the 3rd of November, I was representing MIGOP on the floor. And all I was doing that day was just stand behind the tabulators. I do IT. I have an IT staffing firm, so IT is my specialty. I was standing behind the tabulator machines, and I could tell right away that most of those people did not know what to do when a ballot gets jammed. And I had to literally stand behind them and say, you need to discard when a ballot gets jammed. And just like the previous witness, what she was saying, yes, those tabulators were getting jammed, at least, like she said, 3 or 4 times an hour. And if they knew what to do when there is an error, they were doing it right. To explain to the other person who was asking, when you take the jammed ballot out, you have an option to discard the number. There is a column that says, that's actually tabulating, that's incrementally tabulating every time a ballot gets scanned. So when a ballot gets jammed, you have an option to go and say discard. Then it makes it 0. But you also have an option to continue. So what happens is when you take those one jammed ballot plus the rest of the ones that got tabulated and put them through again, like feed them, if you say continue tabulating, it will add to that 24 or 25 wherever it got jammed, and then again rescan this entire thing. Like she said, the number only has to be 50. There were machines, at least not the machines I was guarding. I was behind tabulator number 5 and 6. And because I was on top of them, telling them every single time, stepping forward and saying, you didn't make it 0, those machines were doing okay. But I did come across a couple of other machines where the numbers were 300, 400. It's not supposed to be. But I could clearly tell that some of those people didn't know how to discard and start again. So was there an overcount? Yes. Was it off by thousands? I can't tell. I only can tell what I saw. And
real quick, guys, I want to point this out. Notice, okay, she's an IT specialist. This is a very credible witness. She's established her own business. She's the epitome of everything the left wants, right? An immigrant woman, legal, okay? And she's established her own business, very successful. She's a female. She's a woman of color. She's an IT specialist, extremely intelligent. She knows exactly what's going on with what's happening with the machines. What she's saying is, as an IT specialist, she didn't go there for anything IT. She went there as a Republican challenger to make sure that the ballots were being counted accurately or that the ballots themselves were accurate. So what she's saying is that she noticed as an IT specialist that the election poll workers had no idea how to run these machines. Like, they were untrained. They had no idea what was going on. And she, as an experienced IT specialist, could tell that these workers had no clue what was going on. So just wanted to point that out. Let's continue.
Cito.
then it makes it 0. But you also have an option to continue. So what happens is when you take those one jammed ballot plus the rest of the ones that got tabulated and put them through again, like feed them, if you say continue tabulating, it will add to that 24 or 25 wherever it got jammed, and then again rescan this entire thing. Like she said, the number only has to be 50. There were machines, at least not the machines I was guarding. I was behind tabulator number 5 and 6. And because I was on top of them, telling them every single time, stepping forward and saying, you didn't make it 0, those machines were doing okay. But I did come across a couple of other machines where the numbers were 300, 400. It's not supposed to be. But I could clearly tell that some of those people didn't know how to discard and start again. So was there an overcount? Yes. Was it off by thousands? I can't tell. I only can tell what I saw. And I witnessed that some people didn't know what to do when it was getting jammed. I don't know how much of training they all had, but some people did not know IT. Similarly, at the county board too, where I witnessed this big stack of ballots that came in with a note saying not in EPB/S, which is not in election poll book or system. I didn't even know that that can even happen, that you can actually have ballots that are not in the poll book or in the system and still be fed into the system. These people were manually entering it, and I have the table numbers where this was getting done, like the counting board numbers. And they didn't know. They were manually feeding it with a birth date of 1900 something. And when I asked the supervisor why they were manually being fed, they said they did not know. They're only doing their job, and if I have a problem, I could go talk to somebody up there. But the thing is, they didn't even know how to unlock the voter record when it gets jammed. Because I'm in IT and I can understand the code behind it, I had to literally help them. I'm like, you have to go do this and do that. And that's when they kind of knew. So I could clearly tell most of these people didn't have enough training, and they were just monotonously doing their job. And whether it was intentional or not, again, I cannot witness to that. I can only tell what I was there for. And again, I just want to tell everybody here that when we became a poll challenger, our intent was not to get into fights with anybody. I'm an immigrant, and this country gave me a platform to be what I am today. I run a successful IT business. I'm one of the fastest 50 growing companies in America. And I really love this country. When I became a citizen of this country, it was a choice I made. I had to give up my Indian citizenship to become a US citizen. It's a choice we all make. That's a country we grew up in, but this is a country we chose to live. So we just have a lot of respect for this country. Putting ourselves out here, it's not fun. Trying to get our names out there, trying to just kind of intimidate us. You have to understand, coming to a country where we have nobody and then start our life here, it takes a lot of courage. So we do have courage. And especially for me to do this, it's really scary. It was very scary because I am a very private person. I have no social media accounts. I just like to live a very private life. But I knew what was at stake from what I witnessed at TCF, and my heart broke because I had a lot of respect. I still have a lot of respect for this country, and I don't believe in racism as like the mainstream media narrative. This country has given me a lot, and I'm very thankful for it. So today when I'm doing this, it's not because I'm trying to say who's good or who's bad. I'm just saying that this needs to be fixed. In a country like India, we have a national identification card without which we cannot vote. When we come into this country, we have a retina scan, we have fingerprints, everything when we are entering into this country through a border. How is that a vote, which is the single most important thing any person can do, is actually being cast without an ID, without any kind of oversight, and those ballots getting duplicated without an oversight, and all of this fraud that was happening, it was heartbreaking. So that's why I decided to put myself here. Another thing that I noticed is that there were Democratic challengers there. I don't even call them challengers. They were agitators. They were only there with one purpose. When GOP people or nonpartisan people signed up, we were only trying to ensure that there was integrity. Whereas when Democratic challengers signed up, their only purpose there was to intimidate the GOP people and get them out. So that was what was happening on the 4th when I got on the floor. I didn't have my GOP tag on, so automatically I was assumed to be a Democrat. And I have seen some women who came to me and said, let's get these MFs out. And she was singing that song. And for me, I don't listen to secular music, and these days you can't even tell what is cussing and what is a song. So I thought maybe she was really singing a song. But then when I saw that she was targeting white male Republicans, accusing them of something like your mask slipped, you were not 6 feet away, so you need to go out, and your phone was out, and they were really intimidating all these white people. And I put myself out there, tried to help them, saying, why are you getting them in trouble? And they said, why are you taking their side? Then I showed my GOP tag, and then she said to me that I am on the wrong side because I had a GOP tag on. I was literally shocked that somebody can judge me because of my political affiliation and say whether or not I'm on the right side or wrong side. I can think for myself. But then at that point, I saw that Republicans were getting escorted, and so many people got escorted that we became like pretty scarce. Like we couldn't even man, like we had only one person manning like 4 or 5 tables because we were so low on numbers. And there were so many Democratic challengers there. So I just went to Election Integrity Fund and got my nonpartisan tag. And the reason I did that was not because I was not there for my party or trying to do something on behalf of my party. I'm just trying to ensure that the right thing is being done. So when I got the nonpartisan tag, at the counting board, the poll workers were very respectful because of my nonpartisan tag. But when I had the GOP tag, the first thing they said is 6 feet. You know the rule or you will be sent out. And I'm like, when I had the nonpartisan tag, not a lot of rules didn't apply to me. So that just told me that, those poll workers, the Democratic challengers, ACLU, and so many other people that were there, their only job there was to block the GOP challengers from doing their job. And when I was with the nonpartisan tag and talking to Democratic challengers, most of them didn't even know what to challenge in a ballot. When I asked them a question, when I was asking supervisor a question, those people were literally confused because they didn't even know what I was asking. And then when I asked one lady, where did you get trained? She said, trained for what? Because they didn't know what they were there for. Their only job, I could tell there, was to block the GOP people from challenging or intimidate them and get them out.
And did you have something to say also about your experience?
Well, there you have it, folks. Now, this is what I'm going to say about this. Listen to what she said. What did she say? She said that as a Republican GOP certified legal challenger, right? This is a very intelligent, very smart woman. She in one case, she said she hid her tag. And when she hid her tag to where Democrats, election officials, and even election poll workers couldn't identify who she was treated differently. She was actually treated with more respect when she hid her GOP tag or when she went and switched it for a nonpartisan tag. So it's very clear there. So whenever she would be walking around with a GOP tag, she was told to get 6 feet away, 6 feet away, 6 feet away. You're not listening to the rules. We're going to throw you out. Very aggressive. And then even when this quote unquote election poll worker went one-on-one with her and didn't know whether she was Republican or Democrat, and when this American Indian immigrant woman was actually defending some of the Republicans, some of the white people from being treated like garbage, one of the Democrats literally questions her and says, "Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?" And then reveals that she's with the GOP and says, "You're on the wrong side." You know how many times while covering Black Lives Matter, I have seen that exact scenario take place at their rallies. You know how many times as an investigative reporter, I have covered Black Lives Matter for the past, where are we at? Like 9 months? I don't know. Okay? I can assure you that those are Black Lives Matter activists. I don't know if they're black, I don't know if they're white, but I guarantee you that those are Black Lives Matter activists because they use the same little talking points and smears against people that they disagree with. And isn't it interesting that a legal Indian immigrant woman is the one? Listen to how she frames what she's saying. I came to this country because I love America. I want to vote. I love this. I love what this country stands for. This country has given me so much. She's discouraged by the behavior of the racist actions of the Democrat Party. You know how embarrassing that is, you guys? You know how sad that is? It's like when someone looks up to you from afar. Let's say if you're I don't know, a big brother or you're famous, someone that you don't know, right? And you look up to them and you're like, man, I want to meet them. I want to be there. I want to be like that. Like this is such an amazing opportunity. And then they finally meet them and you realize that this person's horrible. And your entire world is just so let down. It's depressing. That's exactly what this woman is conveying. She loves America. She renounced her Indian citizenship to become an American citizen, to come to this country because she viewed it with such high regard and respect. And after this election, her heart is just like, oh, what? She could not believe that she was told she's on the wrong side because of her political affiliation. I can assure you that those are Black Lives Matter activists. I can assure you. Going after Republican white men, targeting them specifically, accusing them of being racists, I guarantee you, man, more is going to come out. And the reason why I say that is because some of these testimonies, these poll workers were literally wearing Black Lives Matter paraphernalia, shirts, masks. And notice the point that she made. She made it very clear that as every time she would either hide her GOP card or she would go and grab a card that represented her being not a Republican or a Democrat, she was treated with respect. And she testified that she didn't get the same treatment or the quote unquote rules of 6 feet apart that were, just being dumped on all Republicans. Only Republicans wasn't given to the Democrats or anyone that was identifying as neither. Why is this a problem? You want to know why this is a problem? This is a problem because you might sit there and be like, oh, so what? Whatever. It's like, whatever. This is our election. This has to be done in all fairness and integrity. Republicans were arrested, shoved out of the room for doing their jobs. They weren't able to see or accurately look at the ballots to see or validate them by the hundreds of thousands. Remember what I taught you guys a couple of videos ago? It's a violation of the Constitution. That's the argument they're going for. That is that's the smoking gun, my friend. The actions of these uneducated people, I don't care what skin color they were, but it's very clear that these poll workers were not only criminals, but extremely uneducated on the law and even the technology of the election apparatus in these counties. Now, what I'm about to tell you right now is because of that and due to that, that is how you're going to lose this legal battle if Trump wins. That is how this is going to be proved, because a lot of naive people, a lot of uneducated people on the law and how the election laws and federal constitutional election laws, state laws work, violated them. Why was this allowed by the Democrat Party? I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe they just underestimated Trump's abilities to uncover this. Maybe they thought in their arrogance they could just get away with it because that's how Black Lives Matter are. All these racist freaking leftist black people just always pompous, walking around like they could freaking do whatever the hell they want. It seems like a lot of leftists and Black Lives Matter that are black seem to be like they have some kind of pass to be racist towards white people. Because they claim that white people are racist. That's supposed to work. That's fighting against racism. You're going to fight racism with racism? Black Lives Matter is stupid. What am I saying? What I'm saying is pay attention to these testimonies. Because from my perspective, it has Black Lives Matter written all over it. These activists were all there. I can guarantee you. And it's very sad that she experienced this, because this is someone that is not a born native of this country, that was treated this way and dealt with this way. And by who? Democrats. The very same people that sit here and claim with open arms to be the party of inclusivity and the party to receive all people of color and to be the heroes of minorities are the same ones being racist towards her and treating her like a third world citizen. Why? Because she was a Republican. There's definitely a discrimination politically. If you are a Trump supporter or a Republican, you are 100% discriminated against, which is a travesty, which is ridiculous because Black Lives Matter claims to be fighting against discrimination. And they're the ones that are discriminating against white people. Fact. It's very sad. But these are the kinds of credible witnesses that are stepping forward. And these are the testimonies that they're giving. And this is what this is a lot of illegal election activity. Even in the hearing today, one of the I think it was one of the congressmen actually asked about one of the instances that happened. And he kept saying, so Republicans were not allowed to observe the law or observe the ballot. Correct? And she said, no, they kept kicking us out. Like by the hundreds and thousands of ballots. And they kept saying, because of 6 feet, because of 6 feet. And I don't know if it was Rudy Giuliani or one of the congressmen came in and said, well, hey, that rule was actually overturned just shortly before the election took place. The rule where you had to be 6 feet away in order to, the rule was you have to be 6 feet away from the vote counter. But if you are a challenger, in order to challenge a vote, you don't have to be 6 feet away. And the Democrats violated that. That's a violation of state election, constitutional election laws. You understand? See, this is what the media is not telling you. These people commit this. And like I said, oh, it's not, it's all hearsay. No, a sworn affidavit is not hearsay. This woman could be thrown in prison and maybe even lose her citizenship for lying about this. You think this woman just built an empire here in America just to go and lie and lose it all? Are you that stupid to believe that? You think this woman just renounced her Indian citizenship, came to America, built an empire? She said she has one of the top 50 fastest growing businesses in America. Has a very private life. You think that she is going to lie about this and risk her entire livelihood and career by telling this story under a sworn affidavit, which is punishable of perjury, jail time, prison? If you believe that, man, dude, wake the hell up already, dude. Seriously. Seriously. And you call Trump supporters the conspiracy theorists. Alrighty, guys, we're going to switch over to some super chats right now. If you guys have any super chats, if there are any questions that you guys would like to drop below or have any questions that you would like answered, this is the part of the show where I'll interact with your questions. This is how you can support the show as a viewer and as a listener. I don't monetize the channel. I don't run ads. I don't do anything like that. I leave it to we the people to support this channel because without you guys, I am nothing, literally nothing. So if you guys would like to support the channel via Super Chat, or if not, you can use Venmo, PayPal. Some people like to use Patreon, Cash App, and all that good stuff. People like to support the channel like that, so I'm not going to take that away from them. At first, I didn't like to do stuff like that, but then people are like, dude, you got to let the people support you. It's what they want to do. That's how they feel like they're contributing to your cause and to what you're doing, and so that's why I do that, okay? No grifters here, my friend. Trust me. Alrighty, guys, we are going to take some super chats right now. So if you guys would like to drop one below and have your question answered, it doesn't have to be a question, something you want to say, a point you'd like to bring up. Maybe I missed something. Maybe I should have said something. Try and keep it clean, whatever it is. Now is your time. So let me see and open these up real quick. Alrighty, here we go. Let me pull this up. Alrighty, John Stratton. Thank you for the super chat. Keep up the great work, Drew. got a little extra this week, so have a beer on me, my friend. Hey, John versus Stratton, thank you for the super chat, guys. Like I said, we thank you guys for the support. It means a lot to us because it supports our channel, especially after being deboosted, guys. If you could obviously tell, we have nearly 50K subscribers, and we struggle to even get more than 5,000 views. So try and do the math. That does not make any sense, in my opinion. We should be at least hitting 10K an episode. So, and what that means is we can't monetize. So if you guys would like to support the channel, this is how you can. John versus Stratton, thank you so much for the support and for the super chat. And if you guys would like to leave any super chats or questions below, you guys can do that right now. And if not, I'll probably be heading out, and I will see you guys either tomorrow or next week. We do have some announcements coming up. We do have a new show in the works. It'll be streamed on a platform that is, I would say maybe maybe 100,000 times bigger than this one. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to announce the new show that's coming probably within the next 2 weeks. I'm excited to get that and roll that out with you guys, and a lot of new content that's coming out. I'll be covering actually some events that are coming up in the next 2 weeks. And also make sure, guys, I am on Rumble and I am on Parler as well. So make sure to follow me on there. The links are in the description below. And so I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. And if you guys have anything else you'd like to say, you guys could leave it below. And until tomorrow and until next time, America, stay free.